Have you heard the latest shocking inside scoop after the race at Homestead Miami Speedway? It's all about Steve Letarte going on a no-holds-barred rampage and throwing some big swings at JGR drivers. You won't believe the incendiary words he made, pointing fingers and stirring up some major trouble. What exactly happened between Letarte and those JGR racers? Is this the start of an all-out NASCAR war between drivers and crew chiefs? Stay tuned, because we've got the inside scoop right here. But before that, please subscribe to our channel and hit that like button for more whereabouts on NASCAR. In the thrilling world of NASCAR, it's all about the drivers hogging the limelight. You'll find their faces on t-shirts and posters, hailed as the speed and skill icons. They're the ones whose names resound in the cheers when they pull off a win or hoist a championship trophy. But you know what? Behind all that glitz and glamour, there's an unsung maestro. The real maestro in this whole show, the crew chief. These are the folks who orchestrate the race's symphony, making sure those cars are tuned to perfection, so the drivers can do their thing. They've got the weight of split-second decisions on their shoulders, navigating the maze of choices as the race unfolds. Like when it's time for an all-important pit stop. Should they go for 2 tires, 4 tires, or just a quick fuel top-up? The clock is ticking, and in a matter of moments, their decisions determine destiny. In the end, a crew chief's strategy can either make them the day's hero or, well, sometimes it can turn them into the fall guy. This whole back-and-forth game was recently in the spotlight as a JGR insider subtly critiqued Martin Truex Jr. while giving a nod to the JGR veteran Denny Hamlin. So James Small, who's the crew chief for Martin Truex Jr., made a pretty bold move. He decided to skip a tire change, and guess what happened? It was a total heartbreak. Truex's radio was filled with his disappointment as he dropped down to 16th place. And he didn't hold back, saying some not-so-nice words. Small, sounding all apologetic, responded to the chaos, and Truex Jr. was like, "Effing terrible. I almost didn't listen to you, but I'm not really good at that." Small ruefully added, "Yeah, you should not have listened clearly. We have no idea what we're doing." Sometimes, these high-stakes gambles in strategy can really blow up in your face. Someone from Rick Hendrick's crew pointed out how crucial it is for drivers to keep their cool and trust their crew chiefs. See, it's like a dance between making smart moves and being fast on the track. Always a balancing act of risks and rewards. Drivers should just focus on what they do best, driving, and let the crew chiefs handle the strategy part. But why did Steve Letarte bash JGR drivers? Steve Letarte had a pretty elegant take on this whole deal. He said, "There's a lot of drivers who can't manage that strategy. The one taken up by Denny Hamlin, put forth by his crew chief, Chris Gabehart. When they come back on the racetrack, even with fresh tires, they lose their minds. They scream about pitting too late. They lose their minds." He continued, "They scream about pitting too late. They worry about everything except driving the car, which is what they should be worrying about. And Denny Hamlin's the opposite. It has to be so frustrating to sit out there in old tires and watch cars that you beat all day long zoom past you on new tires, knowing you're losing time. But this belief in one another, and I think it comes with a great communication during the week, right?" And because of all this, Letarte had this feeling that Denny Hamlin was all set for a big win. Steve Letarte had a hunch, and it was all about Denny Hamlin being on the verge of victory. You see, the connection between a driver and their crew chief is like the secret sauce of NASCAR. It's not just about the crew chief calming a driver down after a messy on-track situation, or plotting out pit stop strategies like a tactical mastermind. It's a real collaboration, and that teamwork is everything. Now, the crew chief might have the title, but their job is more like a Swiss Army knife of responsibilities. They wear different hats, like that of a cheerleader, shouting out, "Come on, let's take it back, one car at a time." But here's where the Denny Hamlin and Chris Gabehart story takes a twist. It's not always the crew chief pumping up the driver, sometimes it's the other way around. In a surprising turn of events, Denny Hamlin is the one who gives his crew chief, Chris Gabehart, a shot of confidence. Letarte remembered an incident at Homestead saying, "Even Gabehart wasn't quite sure because Denny said great strategy, and he goes, 'Well, I appreciate that, but I'm not sure it was.'" According to Steve, this trust and positive attitude bouncing between them likely set the stage for his bold prediction. "I actually think number 11 was in a position to win that race." What are your thoughts on Steve Letarte's statements? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Talking more about the Joe Gibbs racing drivers, Joe Gibbs' owner was sort of disappointed too. Joe Gibbs always seems to have a bit of trouble getting all his ducks in a row. When one of his 3 cars came out on top in Miami, he had to deal with the disappointment of seeing the other 2 not make it to the finish line. For the team owner, it wasn't his own crew's fault. No, it was the quirks of NASCAR that got the blame. When he faced the press after the race, he didn't hold back in sharing his thoughts with the world. Joe Gibbs didn't hold back in expressing his disappointment with his drivers after a day of mixed emotions. As they headed to the 1.5-mile intermediate track at Homestead Miami, the hope was that either Hamlin or Truex Jr. would make a significant impact and secure their spot in Phoenix. Both drivers had a solid track record at this circuit, so all signs pointed to a promising day. For a good chunk of the race, it seemed like they might just pull it off, but then late troubles reared their ugly heads for both cars, and they had to hit the pit stop almost simultaneously. A tire blowout and some engine issues played the villain, cutting their races short by about 30 laps. When Gibbs sat down with Christopher Bell's crew chief, Adam Stevens, and was asked about how he would react to Truex Jr.'s team after dealing with those engine problems, he said, "I think it shows you just how tough our sport is. We had such a letdown with the number 11. He had a tire blowout, but he was feeling pretty fast. Martin qualified on the pole. I thought he had a shot with that car. But it's just a series of unfortunate events, losing the engine. It goes to show you how challenging our sport is, because these were the two cars that were leading the charge for us for a while." It's a bit of a toss-up between NASCAR's tough nature and the consistent struggles of Joe Gibbs Racing's crews. Sure, Gibbs has a point that NASCAR's challenges can lead to these situations, but we can't just overlook the frequent issues his teams have been facing. Both the number 11 and number 19 drivers have had their fair share of disagreements with their crews throughout the season. Being a top-tier outfit in stock car racing, their primary responsibility is to build cars that can handle the intense demands of high-speed racing. When their car fails on the track, it's pretty much a failure of the crew. Take Hamlin, for example. He was in a heated battle with Ryan Blaney from Team Penske when a sudden issue with his car's steering abruptly ended his strong run. His Camry hit the wall and caused a crash, leaving him stuck. Shortly after, Truex Jr. had to climb out of his car due to an engine failure, and Joe Gibbs watched it all unfold from the sidelines. With the Miami race behind us, there's just one more race left before the season finale. The upcoming 500 laps at Martinsville will determine the fate of many, including the drivers from Joe Gibbs Racing. If they continue to face car troubles, whether it's the crew's fault or simply the unforgiving nature of the sport, it could be a hit they can't bounce back from. Until next weekend, Joe Gibbs will likely be keeping his fingers crossed, hoping to see all three of his cars in contention at Phoenix. So that's all we've got for today. We hope you enjoyed it. Tell us what you think of the video in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel. We hope to see you in the upcoming video.